Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Chad here once again for BetHubb.com, flying solo for another episode of Sports Hub Central today as we wrap up the 2012 Major League Baseball season, which had tons of theatrics and drama to wrap it all up today. Two prevailing stories here: the Oakland Athletics taking down the Texas Rangers to win the AL West, and then Miguel Cabrera going on to win the first Triple Crown since Carl Yastrzemski in 1967. Let's first start with this Athletics here, because we all know that baseball is a team sport first and foremost. What an absolutely incredible achievement this year. And for anybody that wanted to laugh off Billy Beane the last number of years, thinking that this Oakland Athletic team did not have the same juice and moxie that it did 8-10 years ago, has been proven wrong once again. Because with the lowest payroll in Major League Baseball, not only did they win the AL West, what they had to go up against, what they had to overcome throughout this season is nothing short of phenomenal. All this does to me is prove that out there in life, if you continue to work hard and you put the right group of people together, regardless of the industry that you are in, great results can happen. I mean, just think about what they went through this year. Let's start off with the fact that they were 23-30 to start the year in a division where they had teams that had payrolls that were 3 and 4 times as much, with the Texas Rangers that had won back-to-back American League championships, and the Anaheim Angels, who have always been a great team, went out there and got Pujols, went out there and got Greinke in the middle of the year for more pitching. They signed C.J. Wilson in the offseason. They had the youngsters, Trout, obviously an outstanding year, and Trumbo coming up. I mean, there was no way anybody could have imagined that Oakland would be contending for a playoff spot out of that division with those two teams. And, when you look at them halfway through the year, when they were sitting at 42-43 on July 4th, you figure, okay, they're having a nice little run. They're back to about 500. That's what you sort of expect from a gritty Billy Beane team with the good pitching and maybe not quite as much offense to really hang around towards the end of the year. Well, that was not the case. This team continued to improve as the season went on, and they went an impressive 56-27 down the stretch. And it's not like Texas even played that bad. They were 43-40 over the last 86 games. I understand the numbers might bore you guys a little bit, but it really is truly phenomenal when you think about it from that perspective. They were down 5 games to Texas with 9 remaining, and they still found a way to come back and beat them, including the 3-game sweep here at the end of the series. I mean, you just look at the makeup of this roster. I mean, there are not too many people out there that are crazy sports fans like myself that could even go out there and name their starting lineup or starting rotation. And, you just look at what they did this year with a massive overhaul, whether it's the bringing in guys like Brandon Moss and Josh Reddick in that trade, getting rid of Bailey, their former all-star closer, getting rid of their best starting pitcher, Gio Gonzalez, saying goodnight to Brett Anderson, who's been a mainstay in their rotation, Dallas Braden not coming back. Those 3 guys were the reason why they were a good enough team to stay in the hunt and be near a 500 team last few years. All gone. Not even a question. They go out and make a ballsy signing and bring in Bartolo Colon, who appeared to be done. What does he do? He goes out there and pitches his ass off, only to be found guilty of using PEDs off the rotation. It didn't matter. They had one young pitcher after another stepping up, whether it was Tommy Malone, whether it was A.J. Griffin, whether it was Travis Blakely, whether it was Gerard Parker. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible what they went through with these players here that all came up and stepped up and filled a role. You wanted to get 5 innings out of them, they'd go and do it. You wanted them to come out of the pen, they'd do that. You want them to throw 7 or 8 innings, they would go ahead and do that. And to top it all off, the fact that Brandon McCarthy, one of their key pitchers who's actually been in the rotation the last few years, got that terrible line drive off his skull and is lucky to be living. It didn't matter what was thrown in front of this team. They found a way to overcome and prevail, and you've got to love that story. And then you look at some of the offensive players that they had brought into this team. Whoever thought Coco Crisp would still bring something to the table? I thought Johnny Gomes was thrown out of the league, or no one signed him 3 years ago. And then the low-spending Oakland Athletics go out there and spend $36 million for 4 years for Jonas Cespedes, who everybody sort of questioned, what are we going to get from him? And he turns out to be the heart and soul of that offense. Wow, Billy Beane, you really worked your magic this year. And how can we forget Grant Bell for the back end of that rotation, sort of the bullpen there closing out games. He was always pretty good in Tampa Bay. He was a bit older, didn't really know if he'd work out long term. they took a shot with him. So I love what this Oakland A's team did here. It's an inspiration for sports altogether. If you can't get behind this true feel-good underdog story, then you have a problem with sports and should be going and watching some sort of Jersey Shore's crap like that on TV. Because this is what reality is all about. This is what the drama of sports brings to the forefront. This is coming from a gambler like myself who finds betting on baseball extremely difficult because it's so unpredictable, and the Oakland Athletics are a team that has proven that is clearly the case here, and I can't wait to see what they can do here in the playoffs. I will never count this team out based on what we have seen from them this year. So a big round of applause here for the Oakland Athletics. What a story and what a comeback. Look out for them come postseason here starting in a few days. And we'll wrap up today's baseball coverage here with what Miguel Cabrera did. Nothing short of phenomenal. I mean, you think about it. It has been 45 years since someone's hit for the Triple Crown. Last time it was Boston Red Sox legend Carl Yastrzemski. Given my age in my late 20s and having known the history of baseball a little bit, you figure in your lifetime, maybe you'll see this happen once, maybe not even altogether. So you've really got to cherish this moment as a sports fan and realize the true greatness in Miguel Cabrera. When you look at his overall numbers this year, 331 batting average, 44 home runs, and 139 RBIs. And this came on a winning team. This came on a team that won the division, that was surging at the end of the year. And if you look at his numbers, they progressively got better and were a key reason as to why they overtook the Chicago White Sox in winning this division. Not even a question in MVP of the American League this year. I know Mike Trout was phenomenal and is very worthy of being the second player in that race there. But come on, you guy wins a Triple Crown, you're not going to give him the MVP? Then you might as well never have an MVP to begin with, especially when the team has the success that they had. And, when you look at how difficult it's been the last number of years, a lot of that has to do with the fact that some of these hitters have been more specialists in terms of hitting for power, average, home runs, whatever it may be. That's why you saw more Triple Crowns won prior to the 1960s. So it's an even greater accomplishment in today's era based on what has transpired over the last number of decades. And it's not a fluke here. I mean, Miguel Cabrera has arguably been the best hitter in baseball for the last 7, 8, 9 years. I remember when he emerged on the scene with the Marlins when they won that World Series back in the early 2000s. He was a scrawny little kid. Everyone thought he had some talent. Sometimes his work ethic may be in question. We've seen what's gone on off the field, a couple of incidents with the booze before. Put that all behind. The guy's a phenomenal baseball talent. Every single year he hits 300. Every single year he puts in 30 home runs. Every single year he has 100 RBIs. And every single year he is one of the scariest hitters in the game, and he is very deserving of it. A phenomenal way to wrap up the baseball season today. I cannot wait for the playoffs to begin here. I'll come back with a video breaking down the series, what's going to go on here with these wild cards, give you guys some of my picks. And speaking of that, just a little hint, nudge, nudge here, I really do like the Detroit Tigers to go on a deep run for a number of reasons. So if you guys are like me and you want to wager on some of these games, which I'm sure you do, to want to increase the excitement level, make sure to check out the link below here on the video. Go sign up for an account at BetHubb.com right now. You can go out there and challenge your friends. Whatever bet you want, put it out there. Someone will take it, and it will be a great fun time to enjoy the Major League Baseball playoffs coming up. Make sure to tune in for next week's Sports Hub Central. I'm your host once again, Chad M. here, BetHubb.com.